What a football Friday we have. Finally, two meaningful games between both these two, not historically, but recent history, horrible teams. Meaningful games, BT, going into Week 15. And I got to say, I feel great about the Giants and certainly better about their chances about getting into the postseason than I do the New York Jets because the Giants have been better. Brian Dable, Tom DeVito, to me, head coach quarterback combination, better than the Jets. But meaningful games for both these teams. I think the Giants have the best shot at getting into the postseason of the two.
Well, I'll tell you this, Al. I don't think anybody would want to sign up for this roadmap to get to the playoffs here. I mean, there are long odds on both sides. Tough road games, tough things to navigate. I disagree. I actually, believe it or not, I think that the Jets right now, first of all, I think the Jets are going to win Sunday. I know that sounds insane. I think the Jets are absolutely more likely than the Giants to get there. I just think the Jets are better. I think if you looked at the body of work this year, and I love the DeVito story, and I love how the Giants have saved their season and resuscitated themselves. But from start to finish, or at least till now, the Jets have been the better football team. And I'll tell you what, you go back to that game, and this seemed to be the silver bullet. This seemed to be the dagger for the Jets. The pick six, the Hail Mary, 99 yards. Everything that happened that game, 34-13, Dolphins win on Black Friday. Forget about it. Number one, Tim Boyle played. Tim Boyle's not even on the team. Tyreek Hill is banged up, and the Dolphins' offensive line is very banged up, which obviously opens up a window to get into his face. And when you get after Tua's not that good. I think the Jets are going to, certainly be in a better position than the Giants. I really do. And I'm rooting for the Giants. I just like the Jets better right now.
It's funny you say that because I actually believe the Giants are better. And I'm doing that based off of, not obviously the 2-8 start, but the Giants' defense has been as good as anybody's in recent weeks. I believe the Giants' coaching staff is significantly better than the Jets. And I think DeVito's better than Zach Wilson. So where are you getting exactly the Jets are better?
Well, statistically, you look at the stats of the season. I don't want to bore anybody with that. There's been a couple of outliers where the Jets have given up some points. I get that, and one of which was just referenced the 34 points they gave up against the Dolphins. But was it really 34? No, Tim Boyle gave up 6 or 7 when you throw on the PAT. I just think top to bottom, the Jets are a better team. I do say this: the Giants' defense, to me. And we've talked about this. We talked about this with Casillas, obviously you and I, with the fans, the calls. Like the Giants' defense, to me, you're starting to see in at least minimally 5 spots, maybe 6, 7, you can start to see the shell of a defense that eventually, when they tighten up some other things, could start to challenge in a year or so the Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. I just think the Jets are a better team. I do. I really do. And I love the DeVito story. I do. And maybe I'm riding too high on this crest of a wave from Zach, but I think that the Jets finally learned something. They learned how to use him. He's playing freely. And I think when you combine both units at this point, like the Jets have the best wide receiver. I don't think there's much doubt about that. I think that the Jets' tight ends are slightly better. And I do
Waller
like
coming
Zach.
back. I mean, Waller will be back Sunday now for the Giants.
Yeah, I did see that. Yep. And, and listen, he's done nothing this year, Darren Waller. It's been one of the most overhyped. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have done it, but it was an overhyped, completely without impact signing. Listen, I know we get wrapped up in, if the Jets beat the Dolphins and, if the Giants beat the Saints, the odds go from here to there. And, but even if the Giants win, they got the Eagles twice. And, if the Jets win, what happens with Rodgers? Forget about all that. I'm looking at both teams, and I'm giving the Giants a chance to win Sunday. I'm not saying that they can't win, but I absolutely believe that the Jets will. And if the Jets could get past this Dolphins game, the road is pretty clear, man. You got the Commanders, you got the Pats, you got some teams that you show up you should beat. It's not over for the Jets.
But that's, I think, where we fundamentally disagree. Like, I'm watching the Jets, and I think they stink. And yet you think that they're actually good. Like, you think they're better than the Browns? There's no guarantee that the Jets should even beat the Commanders. I mean, look at the Jets. Look at the way that they've played. All right, they beat the Texans. They had one game. Outside of that, it's been a disaster. So, and by the way, I'm even factoring in with Rodgers potentially coming back. Like, I understand that those are all possibilities, and I understand reasons for hope. I just don't think the Jets are good, and I certainly don't think they're as good as the Giants. Now, the Giants have a difficult schedule with the Eagles twice. I get that aspect. But if I'm looking at who's the better team, like you want to make a case Jets have a softer schedule, Jets get Rodgers back. That I can understand.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are just flat out better than the Jets, and that's why I think they're going to make the postseason. I shouldn't say they're going to make it, but I think they have a better chance to make the postseason than the Jets do.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this right now, what we're saying is, who's more likely to make it? I mean, because, with the wins last week, they were both, very unexpected, at least the manner in which both of these teams won. I mean, DeVito was a star. Wilson played the best game he's ever played. And, it changed the narrative at least for a week. Again, yeah, it's a little ridiculous to get on the air in the middle of December with still a lot of football to go. And both of these teams buried behind a lot of teams just to get back truly in the conversation. But I'm going to take it one week at a time and one roster at a time. And I know that the Dolphins, or at least I think, are better than the Saints. So I don't know that that's the I'm not going to hang my hat on that. I'm going to hang my hat on this Jets defense, dude. And I'm going to hang my hat on the fact that these clueless Jet coaches, after 3 months of figuring out how the hell to deploy Zach Wilson, have finally figured it out. And not only do I think the Jets will win and keep this thing going, and I think it's going to get more and more interesting as the schedule softens up, as Rodgers gets healthier, etc. I actually think that they put points up, and I think that like when we're sitting here Sunday night and obviously Monday on the air, it's not like, oh, wow, the Jets won an ugly one. I think it's more along the lines of, geez, the Jets played well 2 games in a row. Here come the Jets. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, I know, but you also believe that earlier in the year. I get what you're saying. You hope that what we saw on Sunday is the turning of the corner for this team. I just, I don't see it. Who do you think's the better coach, Dable or Saleh?
Dable.
And then who do you think's been better quarterback, DeVito or Zach Wilson? Been playing better this year.
Well, I mean, I would statistically DeVito.
Well, I mean, DeVito's been he's won 3 or 4.
DeVito.
Yeah. So
I'll give you that.
Yeah, and the Giants defense, while it may not be as hyped as the Jets, I could argue it's better.
No, you can't. I mean, you can, but you wouldn't be right. You can attack the argument any way you want. Statistically, I mean, that's not true.
I'm watching the way that they play. They need to close out a game. They need to close out a game. They do it. Giants.
So did the Jets.
No, come on, BT. I mean, the Giants have progressively gotten better here. They are rolling right now. The Jets won a game.
Okay, here's the thing. Why I think the Jets defense, and again, Giants defense has gotten better. And, you saying the Giants defense is better and me saying the Jets defense is better for the next 4 hours is a shelf life. I get it. I respect what you're saying. I disagree. I think the one thing that has hurt the Jets defense from being thought by everybody as absolutely lights out, unstoppably dominant is that they're on the freaking field too much.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've learned,
they got their asses kicked. They get their asses kicked by the Buffalo Bills in a huge game. Not to mention the embarrassment that happened with the Chargers or with the Raiders. And again, I'm not just talking about specific to the defense, team as a whole, but it's not like this defense. I think we're talking about the Jets defense like they are the 85 Bears. They're not.
No, I'm not saying the 85 Bears. I'm just talking about 2023, and I think I know the Jets are one of the better defenses. Listen, if you're going to start cherry-picking games, which I understand, we both do that, you mentioned the Charger game. All right, the final score is 27-6. How'd they score 7 of those points? Special teams. I mean, 34 points they gave up against the Dolphins. What happened? 99 yards with 3 seconds left. Touchdown by Tim Boyle, not by Tyreek Hill. So, or Tua, or Jalen Waddle, or whomever. I get it. You could also probably do this with every team in the NFL. You could selectively, go to a week, parachute in. What happened here? Maybe make more of it than it really is. Maybe some of it's true. And I'm not saying that the Jets defense is beyond reproach. But let's face it. If you give the Jets defense, if they're not gassed, if they're not playing 35, 36, 37 minutes every Sunday, which maybe more sometimes, which they usually do because of the Jets' inability to string together not even touchdowns, but multiple first downs, I really think that it's taken away from how great they're good.
Right.
They're good. I think if you get these guys on the sideline a little bit, then I know that they're better than good. And I think the Jets offense finally is in a position to do that.
Right, and I just feel like the Giants have been doing it certainly over the last 3 wins, obviously more than 4 weeks, whatever, with the bye week in there. But they've been playing better, and I believe in the coaching staff and the quarterback and that defense. And again, we know it's unlikely they're going to make the postseason, but I think the Giants have a better shot than the Jets do. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Matt is calling from New Haven. What's up, Matt?
What's up, boys? How you doing?
How are you, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
So listen, this is what I'm saying about DeVito right now. He's got an Everest of an opportunity in front of him, and if he wins one, and God forbid 2 of these Eagles games coming and brings them to the playoffs, erect a statue of the guy in front of MetLife Stadium. I'm dead serious.
They might. I mean, if the Giants make the postseason, and thank you for the goal. Look, chances are, we understand realistically, they're probably not. However, if they did, BT, you might as well put the statue up of Tommy DeVito outside that stadium. And he's one of the reasons why I believe that they can do it. If Daniel Jones were here, I wouldn't be saying the same thing. Tommy DeVito playing the way that he has, I do believe they have a better chance than the Jets.
Well, I mean, listen, the Tommy DeVito story is unlike, really, outside of Linsanity, unlike really anything we've seen. You know, when you have an obscure – now, he's not obscure because he's from here, and I don't mean all the Italian stuff, but, like, he's from here. So to say that he's obscure, it's a little different than Jeremy Lin, who is not from here and, you know, was played all over and bounced around. And, like, at least I think DeVito locally has been on the radar, certainly as a Bosco kid and playing up at Syracuse, whatever. Okay. But the improbability of his story is amazing, and I'm not going to put a limit on it. If you tell me that DeVito goes into the Superdome and does just enough, and that this ascending Giants defense, I'll give you that. Giants defense is good. I'm not saying it's not good. I just think the Jets is better, but I think they're both good. And they roll in there and they scratch out a 2017 win. Would I be stunned? I absolutely would not be. What I think has me excited about the Jets, and you know what? Listen, if I got to take the L Monday morning, I'll do it because I've done it before with the Jets, and I've done it before with Zach. It's maddening that it's taken this long, but better late than never to figure out how to use somebody. And Zach's playing, listen, I don't know how to say this nicely, but, I mean, they have dropped, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They are swinging. They are swinging left to right.
Yeah.
when he takes off the towel to get in the shower, they're swinging, buddy.
Yeah.
they're not shriveled up, they're swinging.
No,
he found them. Yeah. He found them, dude.
Yeah, no, it's about time. Jimmy is calling from Ronkonkoma. What's up, Jimmy?
Good morning, Sal. Good morning, BT.
Hey, Jim.
Listen, I've been a Jet fan for a long time, since 69. I'm going to be 65. If you base the two teams, let's be honest. Wilson, how many of those losses, Sal? You make like they're terrible. How many of those losses out of those 8 did we have less than a freaking 100 yards on offense? Think about it. Pee-wee teams do better than Zach did. There was points I was ready. I can't take them.
Right.
But then again, he looked wonderful last week. But the guy, listen, I'm to the point now. Let's just play it by ear. I personally think I love DeVito. I think they have a better shot for whatever reason because of the whole situation that this kid's bringing in. Would I like to see Wilson do good this week? I'd love to see 2 weeks in a row. It would be a wonderful feeling to think we have just a little bit of a shot between both of us. Something to watch in December.
Well,
instead of watching Kansas City, all the other, I'm sick of it.
Well, that's the fun part. You're right, Jimmy, and thank you for the call. That's the fun part, is that we have meaningful games heading into Week 15 for both these teams. But you just nailed it, Jimmy. Even as a Jet fan, the reasons why I believe in the Giants, they've actually done it. They're getting hot. They've won 3 in a row. Sure, the schedule's going to get tougher here, but they've won 3 in a row, and I believe it's legitimate, BT, with DeVito, with Barkley, with the weapons on offense, with the defense playing the way that it has, with the coaching staff. There's legitimacy there, a foundation and progression. With the Jets, it's one game. They've played like crap for weeks, and now it's one game that we're reacting to.
Yeah, no, we are reacting to this, but because of the clueless nature of the coaching staff, we get to react to something different finally, and we get to react to the kid who is finally being used properly, but more importantly, is back playing instead of sitting, watching Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian. So I get it. Listen, it has not been linear. The Jets were dealt a massive shot with Rodgers 4 plays in. They somehow won the game, and then they lost a couple of games that they shouldn't. Then they won a couple of ugly ones. They played the Chiefs interesting, which gave us some hope. And then you just fast forward the Raiders loss or the Falcons loss, where we thought you came and you buried them.
Right.
Maybe a little prematurely. I'm just saying,
no,
they're not dead yet.
Yeah, no way.
What I mean? So I get it. We want our teams. We never get it with our teams, really, but we want our teams to go 13-4, 12-5, win 3 games every month, put up 27, 30 points every week, have a representative defense, be well coached, avoid injuries, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't happen. This is the NFL. And what's interesting about this is that while we micro-analyze, of course, because this is what we do in New York and New Jersey and the tri-state area, both the Jets and the Giants, I'm telling you, Sal, if you take a magnifying glass and you go to all the other teams that are in front of the Jets and the Giants right now, guess what? They got problems too. They got real problems.
Yeah, but the problem is bigger for both of these teams because of what their record is, because of the way they've played the majority of the year. I mean, that's the thing. You're looking at it like, oh, well, not everybody wins every week. Yeah, they're 5-8. The Jets lost 5 in a row. I mean, you lost 5 football games in a row, and you still somehow think they're going to be a postseason team based on 1 week. Like, at least with the Giants, they are a totally different team the last few weeks than what we saw the first 10 weeks. Now, it's too little, too late, probably, to actually get in, but they're building towards something, and there's legitimacy to it. The Jets, it's been crash and burn. Oh, wait, 1 week, Zach looks great, defense playing well, at home against the Texans, and now they're back. I need to see more before I believe in them.
Well, listen, at this point, we're just grasping for oxygen. I admit that. It's a long shot. The crazy thing, though, this will, and I really mean this will summarize right now how I feel about both of the teams. It's just my innate sense of the New York football scene. Like, I actually think that there's a better chance that both teams win than both teams lose. And imagine saying that 3 weeks ago.
Right.
2 weeks ago. Like, think about that. Like, I'm going into this football Sunday. I'm not saying I expect both teams to win, but if I had to slap down a few bucks and the odds were what they were, I would actually put it on both teams winning rather than losing. And it's a testament to their resilience. Maybe the Giants more so, because the Giants have won a couple in a row. But it's also a state of the conferences. And listen, just back to the Jets for a moment. All right, so the Jets are in 13th place. Miles to go. Understood. Not going to be easy. The 8th place team right now is the Texans. They've got the tiebreaker. They just beat them. The 9th place team is the Broncos. They've got the tiebreaker. They beat them. Then there's the Bengals without Burrow. Then there's the Bills, who they tied with, and they could get the tiebreaker based on some other tiebreaker situations. And then, of course, Vegas, who they lost to. But Vegas is going nowhere. They scored 0 points at home last week against Minnesota. They lost 3-zip. Listen, there's a lot of things that need to go right. That's just the Jets' perspective. For the Giants, they got to beat They got to beat a team twice, or at least once, that they never play well against recently.
The biggest hurdle for the Giants, the Jets have a lot of hurdles to overcome. Biggest one for the Giants is that they got Philadelphia twice. Because everybody else in the NFC, they're 6-7. You're talking about 1 game difference here. With the Jets, the teams are 7-6. That's a bigger difference, and I think you got better teams in the AFC than you do in the NFC. Rick is calling from Glen Ridge. What's up, Rick?
Yeah, hey, guys. Love the show. So lifelong Giants fan here. Love watching the games with my son. We would love nothing more than to watch the Giants actually make a run at this thing here as we close out the season. We have been closely tracking what the Eagles are doing and what the Cowboys are doing in the hopes that maybe the Eagles would just coast in those last 2 games that have nothing left to play for. The exact opposite has happened. They have everything to play for. And I think the reality is that, myself included, any Giant fan who thinks that we have a shot to beat the Eagles twice is absolutely delusional.
You know what, though? It may, and thank you for the call, Rick. It may not even take that. Think about it, BT. You could, now I don't think it's likely, but there's a chance they could get in at 3-1 over the next 4. I would think, right? I haven't done all the math, but yeah, I mean, if you get to 8 wins, there's a chance maybe you could backdoor your way into the postseason in a weaker NFC, and that would give you real hope. And by the way, who's to say to write them off that they can't do it? I don't think it's likely that they're going to sweep the Eagles, but they could.
Sal, I mean, think about what we're talking about right now. And I'm sure for some, it seems a little far-fetched. I got it. But it's not entirely implausible statistically. If the Jets and the Giants, especially the Giants who are playing, they've won a couple in a row. But if the Jets and the Giants play well, they're going to get in the playoffs. I mean, they were dead. It went from fire everybody from the Jets' perspective, which, by the way, I still don't believe in Saleh, but I don't need to devolve into 9 different conversations here. You know where I stand on the head coach and Hackett, et cetera.
Right.
But it went from all that stuff, benching the number 2 pick, and he's absolutely gone next year, and then Jones gets hurt, and some people think Dable, which was crazy, might not be the right coach for the Giants, too. Here we are, middle of December. A lot of teams are bleeding out right now, and it looks like the Jets and the Giants are beginning to at least play some of their better football. I'll take it. I'll take it, dude.
We'll both take it. Having meaningful games going on in Week 15. Jets and Giants coming up 1 o'clock on Sunday. Brandon Tierney, Sal Licata on the Fan. We'll continue with your calls on the other side.